What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is currently 9:17 right now, and the reason why I'm back in the garage is because I want to feel like I was productive today. Today I was outside trying to work on the red all-wheel drive CRX, except my jack wasn't really cooperating. It's really on its last leg and it's taking forever to pump the car up, and I think I'm gonna retire that jack and try to find a way to repair it. But in the meantime, I may have to go to Harbor Freight and grab one of those Daytona low profile jacks, which I've been wanting for a little while anyways. I decided to scratch the idea of working on the car today because of the jack situation. I was supposed to build an exhaust system out of scrap material, but I think I decided that I'm just going to take the car into a shop and have them build me a custom exhaust system. And then I came back inside to try to work on the built LS VTEC short block, except people were doing laundries back to back, and it was just way too loud to record anything for you guys. So I'm back here now, 9 o'clock, to try to make a little more progress. And today we're gonna pull out my LS built short block with the max PDing rods and the Nippon PR3 pistons to assemble as much as I can on the bottom end to get it ready for the cylinder head to go on. If you guys don't remember, I am building an all-motor B series. This is a B18B1 LS from the junkyard, and I did an entire video on the rotating assembly. We are using the max PDing LS rods with the Nippon PR3 pistons. These are 81 mil standard spec, and we are using oversized ACL bearings for the rods and ACL bearings for the main as well as the ACL thrust. After I finished this rotating assembly, I did wrap it up and push it off to the side since I was cleaning the garage. But I do want to make more progress towards getting this thing more and more completed. So today in this video, we're going to be installing everything that I have for the bottom end. I am going to make a different video for the cylinder head installation. We'll talk about what we're going to be using. I still need to pull it off the other engine. I still need to check it to make sure it's good. Do the head stud, head gasket, install the cylinder head, and then the intake manifold and everything else along with that. I know you guys are probably killing me right now because this block is really dirty. I did scrub it so many times, it's still kind of gunked up, but I am going to scrub it a little bit more, and potentially maybe I might spray this engine as well too, because I haven't done that in a while. Looking good. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and clean off these ATF that's on top of the piston, so when I rotate it, it's not going to drip all over my floor. First thing I'm going to install is my oil pump, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that real quick. This is my GSR oil pump that came off of my fully built GSR turbo engine. The motor shifted sleeves, and I completely stripped that motor apart and kept everything. And I'm going to be using this on the all motor build. It worked perfectly fine before, but before I install it, I want to make sure that I do have a washer inside of this port right here for the spring to increase oil pressure. And it looks like I do. You can see it right there, little washer. Oil pump does go on the block with RTV. I want to make sure I have the O-ring in here, which I do. Make sure your surface is clear of old RTV. I am just using Permatex gray RTV. You can use Honda Bond if you're a purist, but ain't nothing wrong with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and just lightly dab up the surface where the oil pump would be sitting. You don't have to dab up this port right here because the O-ring does sit there, but if you just want a little peace of mind, you can always skim coat it. Make sure you line up this tab right here inside the oil pump on the gear itself to the crankshaft right here. You'll see it when you have it in your hand if you're doing this on your engine as well. The two bottom bolts are 12 mil where the oil pan goes, and then the rest of them are 10 millimeters. Make sure you torque these down, or if you're experienced, hand torque them. And I'm not talking about with the gun. Next thing going on here is the windage tray. I did already clean this the other day, and they are specific for LS and B20 to GSRs to Type Rs and B16s. This only goes on one way. This hole right here is for the dipstick, so that faces forward. Next up is the oil pickup tube. This is also LSB20 specific to GSR, B16, and ITR. So because, make sure you guys have the correct one. This is held on by 2 nuts and 2 bolts. Don't forget your gasket. After the oil pickup tube, we have to put on the rear main seal cover and the rear main seal, so that way we can do the oil pan. I do have it right here, and it does have a very, very old OEM Honda rear main seal that I'm going to change out as well too. I guess that's one way to do it. Grab my little chair right here. All right, my gasket box. So we need oil pan, gasket. Got rear main seal right here. I also got one right here as well too. I think I'm going to use this one just so I can keep the red label. So rear main seal, and what is this? Oil pan gasket. I don't know what PO1004 is, but I'm gonna run the part number on that. See if I have a different one in here. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. A little easier to do RTV on the actual cover itself than to squeeze my hand in between the short block and the stand. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dab this up. Make sure you have your hardware ready to go, which I have them right here. You don't need a really thick layer, just a nice skim, because once this is torqued down, it's just going to spread everything in the center out to the edge anyways, and the edge is what's going to get sealed to ensure oil is not going to seep through. There are dowel pins on here, so once the dowel pins are aligned, you can secure it down. I think it would have been smarter to put the rear main seal on the cover before installing it, because there's no way I'm going to be able to press the rear main seal on the engine stand. But it is what it is. I can install the rear main seal once the short block is off the engine stand, so it's not a big deal. So the oil pan gasket that I pull out of the box is not for a B series. It's for an older Honda, and I want to say it's for Brian's first gen CRX, because the box of red labels came from my homie Brian. Big shout out to Brian, because he hooked me up with that once he got out of the Honda scene. And I don't have an oil pan gasket for the oil pan to go onto the short block. So right now I'm probably just gonna bolt up the oil pan just loosely, and then tomorrow I'll go pick up a Felpro to finish that off. But right now I'm going to rotate the engine around so we can do timing belt, water pump, and tensioner. This water pump is also brand new. You can see the brand is a GMB brand. This is a GSR water pump, and I'm going to be using a matching GSR timing belt that I also install at the same time with this water pump. I do have the gasket right here, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on, and then we'll get this water pump on the short block. This is the matching tensioner to the kit that I installed on the previous engine. I do have the spring for it there and the specific tensioner bolt here. Now, before I put the timing belt on, I want to let you guys know that the OBD1 oil pump, which doesn't have the sensors here for the crank, OBD1 oil pump uses 2 shims between the timing gear, okay? OBD2 only uses 1 because the OBD2 gear has a shim on the back of it. I don't think it's called a shim, but the OBD2 gear has another gear in the back, and it only uses the one in the front. So for the OBD1 oil pump, the washer right here is concave. You have to put the bowl in on the inside facing the engine itself, so that way it doesn't interfere with the actual timing belt itself. The gear itself has a keyway inside of it. You can see it right there. The keyway goes onto the crank right there, which it looks like it's gonna face the outside, right? Second shim also has that taper, and the bowl end is gonna be facing out, right? And that's going to go right there. But before I put that on, I'm going to go ahead and get the timing belt, which I have hanging around somewhere. GSR, which one are you? This is the recent one that I put up because it is marked in black, while this one is marked in blue, and I don't have the blue marker anymore. But this is also new because it is a Gates timing belt, and I did part ways with 2 GSR blocks. So simple enough, I'm gonna go ahead and just slip this on here because the timing cover is gonna go on, and definitely wanna have this timing belt in place beforehand. I'm gonna go ahead and put this washer on and then get the timing cover. Now at this point, you're probably saying to yourself, Static, you don't have a post mount and you have to put the post mount on before the timing cover. You are correct. I forgot the post mount in the storage unit, but I also thought about it. If I did the post mount on camera, then you guys would probably get an idea of what car this engine is going into. So I'd rather do this a different day off camera and just kind of keep you guys guessing still. So I'm gonna go ahead and just loosely put the timing cover on because it's gonna have to come back off anyways. In this box here, we have the crank pulley. That's not gonna go on until we do the post mount, rear main seal. I am going to wrap up the video for tonight, but we will continue tomorrow once we pick up the oil pan gasket. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think I want to maybe possibly paint the short block tomorrow as well too. But we'll see you guys tomorrow. So guys, we are back in the garage the next evening, and I say evening because I had a very unexpected morning and I just got back home from the parts store. I picked up a Felpro head gasket that I'm going to be using for the build. Felpro works perfectly fine on low boost and an all motor build. I've never had issues with this before. I also picked up a Felpro oil pan gasket, and this one has the metal piece in it. I wasn't intending to buy this one, but because they couldn't find the regular rubber gasket in stock, very typical of O'Reilly's, they gave me this one for the cost of the other one, so we saved money to get a better gasket. The last thing I'm gonna do here in this video is install the oil pan and the gasket itself. The whole intention was to spray the short block today as well too, but we're not gonna get to that because of how cold and dark it is outside right now. Go ahead and flip the short block around. Remove these 2 10mm nuts. Make sure the surface is nice and dry. The only gasket I'm applying is the oil pump to the short block, and then the rear main seal plate to the short block. This is a brand new oil pan gasket. It is not meant to be used with a gang of RTVs on it. Please do not douse this oil pan gasket or any gasket with a gang of RTV. Figure out which way does this go on. Let me see. Just like that. Make sure oil pan surface is nice and clean. Go ahead and just plop that on there. I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. I just want to make a little progress update on the built short block, just so we don't forget it. Before we cap this video out, I want to talk about a couple of things here real quick. In the previous video you guys saw, we picked up the new project car, and I've been reading the comments on it. People were saying, oh, Static, why aren't you finishing the giveaway car before starting a new project car? And honestly, like, the car doesn't really need much more, but there's still a lot of things I have to backtrack. I have to take out, fix, put it back together, and I want to do it off camera because I don't want to show you guys the same thing over and over again. And there's just a couple of things I didn't like that I've been doing off camera to kind of like get it correct, and we're gonna be picking back up with it real soon. Me and Nomis, we've been talking about it for weeks, months now, and I need to get back on the car. I really do, and really finish up the car. It still needs to get cut and polished, which we've been raining for the last I don't know how many weeks. I need to figure out the drive shaft and viscous coupler mounting, but we kind of got that idea down already because we just did it on the red car. I got to situate everything in the engine bay to get the car to fire over again. I do need to buy a new battery, and I need to figure out if it has a misfire or it just sounds funky because it has an open downpipe. I also don't have a wastegate. There's just a lot of things I need to do with that car still. A lot of that stuff revolves around money, and money is really tight for me right now. Granted, the channel has been hurting a little bit these last few months. The only reason why I picked up this car right now is because it was a killer deal that my friend gave me, and I didn't want it to be sold by the time I'm done with everything here on the driveway. So instead, I went to go pick up the car right away to have it on hand, which is also one of the reasons why I got a bigger storage unit, because the goal was to take it there and just store it there. Except you guys saw in that video, the storage is still super jam-packed, and we picked up the car super late, so I couldn't even take it to the storage unit. I wasn't even supposed to reveal that car until it's ready to get shown, but you know, that's just the way cookie crumbles sometimes. My red car just needs a few more things so I can really button it up and get it out of here, and then we'll get back onto the white giveaway CRX, and then we'll start building the new car. Trust me, I have this plan fully laid out on not the paper, but in my head, and I'm gonna stick with it. So I can assure you guys, you will see some giveaway car content soon, and I'm gonna try my best to get rolling on it again, because I know it has been a very long time since we started this project. But please be patient with me. I am one guy doing this whole entire thing by myself, including the filming, the editing, the wrenching. It's very overwhelming, but I'm trying my best to keep it up for you guys. So as far as this video goes, we are done with installing some of the parts on the LS short block. We did the oil pump, the windage tray, the oil pickup tube, brand new gasket for the oil pan itself. We did the water pump, the tensioner, timing cover, and the belt itself. Possibly tomorrow I'm going to pull the other engine out underneath the rack so we can pull the cylinder head off of that and get that ready to install on here. So if you guys enjoyed today's progress update, be sure to leave a thumbs up. And if you guys want to stick around for the completion of the LS VTEC all motor build, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.